Bigger than Ainz. Great video title. Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video for today. We are going to take a closer look at the greatest and by far the single most destructive conflict in the history of Overlord and the New World. A conflict that shaped the entire continent and a conflict that likely enabled Nazarick to start so relatively peaceful into the New World. Well, peaceful again is a relative term in Overlord, but compared to what we are going to talk about, even the summoning of the Dark Young was just a relatively minor incident. But before we are going to take a closer look at today's topic, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as all users of the YouTube Thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's make it clear what we are even going to talk about today. For the greatest conflict in Overlord was not the cleansing of the kingdom of Ainz by an undead army, or anything else Ainz did, or is likely going to do to the theocracy. But it happened over 500 years ago, and it was nothing else than the war that destroyed the former undisputed rulers of the New World, the legendary Dragon Lords of old. And while we only know bits and pieces about the lore of this conflict, even the things we are now knowing are still so important that Ainz needs to uncover and unravel them. The war between the 8 Great Kings and the Dragon Lords of old over the supremacy of the continent is the reason why so few Dragon Lords are remaining today. It is also likely the reason why the remaining Dragon Lords hate the players and train themselves to defend against yet more incursions of them. And the subsequent victory of the 8 Great Kings over the Dragon Lords and over many other entirely helpless nations and species even lowered the average level of the New World quite a bit, thus making it far easier for us frail humans to survive in this otherwise hellish world. And the Dragon Lords back then were also way stronger than today, having had many centuries and millennia to grow their strength and might. And Platinum's father, the Dragon Emperor, were likely far more powerful than Platinum is, even today, with his real body. But with all of that said, we don't know why this war has happened in the first place. And one very obvious cause for this war might be the Great Kings themselves. Being known as the Kings of Avarice, it is entirely conceivable that the 8 players who had freshly arrived in the New World were the ones who started this apocalyptic conflict. Drunk with their newfound powers, the players wanted to use it to conquer the entire continent and maybe then to conquer the entire world. And the 8 Great Kings not only had their own awesome power, but were also with their guild base and their NPCs. And by the way, NPCs is a term that even Platinum and Regret Bears Karoo seem to know. So it is very likely that either Platinum had witnessed the fight against the NPCs, or even at one point fought against them himself, or that at least the description of the war, for he had not fallen victim to it, would later prompt another player, the one that he had met 200 years before Ainz arrived, the leader of the 13 heroes, to explain in very rough terms what NPCs even are. Anyway, the NPCs would see the 8 as superior beings, just like they do in Nazarick with Ainz. And if you find yourself in a new, powerful and immortal body, and able to glass entire cities with magic, or split the sky in two with the swing of a sword, surrounded by an army of incredibly powerful servants who revere you as a deity, it is not entirely unthinkable that these gamers, who most likely were in their 30s or their 20s even, just went along with everything. They might have truly believed that this was the afterlife, and as a reward for their suffering, they now get to live out their fantasies in a quasi-video game world. And so conquering it would seem like a fun thing to do. So in short, the first possible and plausible reason for the war might just have been their own hubris, and considering they later, after conquering the entire continent, destroyed each other in an apocalyptic civil war, it would make sense. But, and here's a point I want to make, the entire conflict might have been started not by the 8 kings or, in fact, even the dragons, but by the slain theocracy. For we know for certain that it had been the 8 Greek kings who killed their last remaining god, Sorshana. And if regicide is seen as a horrible crime by at least the knights and the aristocrats of a country, imagine what religious zealots would do if their deity is killed. Undoubtedly Slain hated the 8 Greek kings for their deicide, more so than they even hate Ainz today. Which then also raises the question, why did the 8 have killed Sorshana? Well, to borrow a phrase from Remedios, he's an undead. And even in the game world of Yggdrasil Online, undead players were hunted in order to fulfill quests or for sports. So while it is most likely that Sorshana had been killed because he tried to resist, the 8 kings might have indeed came into contact with Slain and Sorshana first, killed the undead, and then Slain itself might be the one who reacted to the king's aggression by using downfall of castle and country to mind control one of them, thus starting off the war with the Dragon Lords, and or even their own civil war after, as a means to avenge the death of Sorshana. It could be that the greatest war in the history of the New World had been started by a vengeful theocracy. And here's the thing, Platinum, in his duel with Pandora's Actor, stated that it was not right what players did to his mother or what his father did to players, which suggested that players, likely the 8 Greek kings, have attacked or killed Platinum's mother, thus prompting retaliation, and attacking the Empress would be a very obvious way to provoke the wrath of the Dragon Emperor, something that Slain might have been well aware of, considering that they were around a century longer than the 8 Greek kings at that point. So while the entire war could just have been started out of hubris and a sense of overconfidence, or even the Dragon Lords might be the one who have started it in order to get even on the players and their tier magic system for polluting their own wild magic. Maybe, just maybe, Slain is behind all of this. And since Ainz is now going to focus solely on Slain, it is very likely that we will find out whether or not Slain actually had intervened with their world-class item. And one last note, the 8 Greek kings are known for being greedy, and I highly doubt that they would have eliminated Sorshana only to then not take Slain's world-class item. Therefore the 8 might have been unaware of its very existence. Anyway, this is just my opinion and theorizing, so feel free to post your own thoughts and ideas down in the comment section. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching and special thanks to Arder Daddy Arder, Bad Guy Yee, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Firajivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, O-Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.